Hey, my name is Joe. Got another video for you today. I think you're going to like it. My 3 retirement planning websites. Okay, I only use 3. I do use some Excel files that I've created myself, unique to me. But these are the 3 websites that I use on a regular basis. I rediscovered one lately. I haven't talked about it, so it may be new to several of you. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's take a look. All right. All right. I think we're here. So my 3 retirement websites. FireCalc. This is going to be a new one for a lot of you folks. Okay. It's a free website. Free, free, free. Love free. I'm always looking for free things. Hey, I changed my cursor here too. It's a free upgrade so you can see my cursor. I'm trying to get better. Okay. What FireCalc does, it looks at withdrawal rates, success of those withdrawal rates versus historical performance going back to 1871. So it uses real numbers, real performance of the bond market, the stock market, to say how would your portfolio have performed over 20, 30-year segments of that. If you would have retired in 1871, you would in the next 30 years, you would have retired in 1941, you would have retired in 1971, and goes forward 3 years and plots those. We're going to take a look at that today. It's exciting. It uses history. Okay. Also, it really gets into, has a nice visual on the impact of fees on your portfolio. But the downside, it's a rough asset allocation. You don't get down into specific funds. So it really just say, hey, large cap value, large cap stocks, large cap growth, and you select those, hey, and a percent of equities versus bonds. Very high level, but uses history. I love that, using history. Okay. The next one is New Retirement. Talked about this before. It's a comprehensive planning tool. It's what I consider my retirement plan. It's got very detailed expenses, savings, taxes, Roth conversions, recommends changes to you. It uses Monte Carlo. Now, the difference between Monte Carlo and history, Monte Carlo, you put in an average like 7% return on my 401k. And then new retirement folks assume they look at that 7% and say, hey, that's probably a 70-30 mix, hypothetically, of stocks to bonds. And that portfolio historically has had this standard deviation. Okay. So you got a mean, you got a standard deviation. You're assuming it's a normal curve. And then it calculates your probability of success using those assumptions. Okay. I love Monte Carlo. It's a good system, but it is a model. Okay. It's a model. And is the next 30 years going to be a normal distribution? Is it going to be the average you put in? Is it going to be the standard deviation of history? Who knows? Okay. So that's just one of the drawbacks of new retirement. It's what the common tool that financial advisors use uh, on almost every retirement website except for FireCalc. And that's why I like FireCalc, uses actual historic numbers. So I combine these two. I also do all my stress testing in new retirement. Okay. So great tool, but I wish New Retirement had a little toggle to say, hey, how has this done in history? I've actually talked to the leadership about that, but it's New Retirement, exceptional tool, great, great, great tool when you combine it with FireCalc. Okay, so we're going to demonstrate that. Portfolio Visualizer is another website I look at. It is free, so 2 of the 3 of these are free, 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 free. It does specific fund comparisons. So if you want to use VTI for Vanguard's total stock market index, you type in VTI and you can compare 3 different portfolios. So you can get 5 funds from Vanguard and 5 funds from, American funds, or 5 funds from somebody else, put them all together and then compare them. You can look at different market segments, very specific into funds that you're picking. And it creates metrics for those funds. Okay. All the KPIs you can possibly think of. Okay. Compound annual growth rate, Sharpe ratio, All those things are in there. Standard deviation. You can drill down as deep as you want to here. There is a paid version of this, but I think the free version is incredibly helpful. So those are the 3 planning websites that I use, okay? So I am going to dive into FireCalc because this is exciting, folks. I love this, okay? This is when you type in firecalc.com, there's the spelling, fire, CALC.com. And all the instructions, it's not a very well-designed website, but it really works if you take time to look at it. All the instructions are here in the paragraph, okay? All the instructions. And it uses historical results. The graph here shows, hey, here's somebody that retired in 73, 74, and 75. So 3 years right next to each other. And look at the difference of return depending on sequence of return risk. This is what sequence of return risk looks like. I'm not sure which one, 74, 75, and 73, but look at the difference in your portfolio. One, you ran out of money. One, you had, you've almost tripled your money. So with this, one of the things you do is you come over here to this start here, okay? And I want to spend $30,000 a year. I think this is the default. And my portfolio is $750,000 over 30 years. So I can just hit submit from right there, okay? And it comes back. Sorry about that. I've been playing around with it. Ignore that, okay? So that's my portfolio is $750,000, $30,000 a year spending. Remember that. Okay. So then you could come in under the second tab and you could put in Social Security if you want. You can put in your spouse Social Security. You can put in a pension. Okay. You can say I'm retiring in the future and how much you're going to be adding each year. Kind of basic, pretty basic. Okay. Different spending models. I've selected constant spending power. Based on CPI. See CPI right here, constant spending power right here. And that adjusts for inflation. You can pick your own inflation. You can use PPI and you can use, there's a couple other ones. So let's not get excited about that. But the portfolio, so what's my portfolio made of? I selected total market going back to 1871, 5-year treasury. 5-year treasury is the fixed portion, and the equity portion I got here at 50%. Let's raise that to 75. So it's a 75-25 portfolio is what I selected. Okay. So then you hit submit. Ah, man, I got the wrong one selected. Sorry for the confusion. I'm going to go back in here into investigate. I'm going to select, yeah, there's where I've got it selected down here. I'm going to go up here and select this one, hit submit. And here's the output. Okay, so this is a 75-25 portfolio. Going back to 1871 and looking at 30-year increments, 1871 plus 31, 1872 plus 30, plus 30. I said 31, 30. Okay, and this is the 0 line right here. So this had a 95.1% probability of success, and you ranged between a minus 282,000 and a plus 4.18 million, based on real history, not a Monte Carlo. Okay, Monte Carlo is good. Monte Carlo and history, I think you got a good, a very good combination when you look at both of those. Okay, so that's what you can do. I'm going to play around with this just a little bit. So, hey, how about changing asset allocation? How does that, I put in that 75-25. How does asset allocation affect it? Okay, so here's your percent asset allocation. So this 0.5 is 50% equities, 50% equities. You're up at, what's that? That should show me almost 96% probability of success of pulling that 30,000 out every year, adjusted for inflation. Look how flat this is. Okay, look how flat this is. Now, one of the things you may say is like, gosh, why would I use 100%? This 1.0 is 100% equity. It's pretty flat lined up here, about the same probability of success. Where it matters is in the total bandwidth of like how much you can have and how, if the stock market does good and then how bad it can get. Okay. So you may, just as an example, if you have a 100% stock portfolio, may have a potential making, if the stock market does good, $8 million or losing 1 million. But if you used a 50% portfolio, you may have the potential of 3 million and only losing $250,000. So the less risk you take, it brings in those outer limits, the highs and lows. Okay. So you can play around with that. Okay. Another thing I like using, what is the impact of expense ratio? This is super cool. Expenses. If you want to, this is how I found this site. Okay. What's the impact of expenses? So if you pay a financial advisor, for example, 1%, this is 1% down here, and then you have, let's say managed funds where you're paying another 0.6%. So your fees are 1.6%. Your performance of those stocks is almost 79% of what a 0% fees would be. Now you can't really get 0% fees, even Vanguard's, 0.03 or, but just look at that, how dramatic that changes, 79% versus, I think they used a 0.2. Yeah, they used 0.2 in here, goes up to almost 77%. So a huge impact of fees. You want to know how much you're paying in fees? There you go. Another cool feature, and this is what I started off with, is take a look at the spending level one. It says, okay, to have 100% confidence in my spending rate, I can spend not $30,000 a year, but 24,448. Okay. And then you say, I'm okay with 95% confidence. That's what this uses. Where can I get 95% confidence? I could spend $30,560. So I could spend a little bit more every year and be at my 95% confidence. So you can bring that down to 95 even if you want. So very cool tool, all using history. I love FireCalc. I think you will too. History, it is a great tool to supplement, not supplement, it partners with New Retirement. New Retirement, again, uses Monte Carlo, which is a model, a good model, not a perfect model. Combining that model with history, I really like it. Gives me a lot of confidence that I can make it through some pretty rough times based on history going back to 1871. Really nice tool. So love it, love it, love it. If you use another tool, let me know in the comments. These are the three that I use. The FireCalc and Portfolio Visualizer are both free. I'll make another video coming up here on Portfolio Visualizer. I've made several on New Retirement, several more to come probably, but I wanted to share the three that I used. All right? Let me know what you think. It's Joe out.